Let's be honest, women don't usually admit this out loud, but distance changes everything. When you finally pull back, stop chasing, and focus on yourself, something strange happens. The same woman who seemed to lose interest suddenly starts coming back around. She might text you out of nowhere, watch your stories again, or even pretend she just misses talking to you. Now here's the truth most men never hear. It's not always love that brings her back. Sometimes it's ego, sometimes it's curiosity, and sometimes it's the emotional pull of realizing you're no longer orbiting around her world. See, when you were chasing her, she had all the power. She could take her time, pull away, act confused, because she knew you were still there. But when you finally stepped back, you broke that pattern. You changed the energy. And that's when her emotions start to get interesting. Because here's something women rarely say. We notice everything you stop doing. When you stop texting, stop watching our stories, stop reacting, it hits us. Even if we were the ones who left, there's this sudden emptiness we feel when your attention disappears. It's not always about wanting you back romantically. It's about missing the validation, the feeling of being wanted, the control. So when she comes back after distance, you have to understand what's really happening underneath that, "Hey, how have you been?" This video is going to break that down for you, from a woman's perspective. I'll explain what triggers her to return, what she's really thinking when she does, and how to handle it in a way that keeps your power, not hers. Because once you understand why she comes back, you'll never be confused by her mixed signals again. 1. She comes back because the silence hits her ego. When a woman pulls away, she often believes you'll still be there waiting. Even if she ends things, she assumes you'll keep showing signs that you still care, liking her posts, checking in, or trying to stay friends. Most men unknowingly feed that comfort. They think being patient or staying available will make her realize what she's missing. But from a woman's perspective, it does the opposite. It tells her she can have you whenever she wants, that no matter what she does, she still holds space in your life. That's why silence shakes her ego. When you stop responding, stop showing interest, and stop reaching out, she suddenly loses the quiet reassurance that she was still desired. And for many women, that's an emotional shock. Because attention, especially from a man who once cared deeply, feeds a woman's sense of validation. It confirms she still has value, power, and emotional impact. So when that attention disappears, it's not just silence, it's an ego hit. It makes her question things like, has he moved on? Did he stop caring that easily? Wait, was I not as special as I thought? Those questions stir discomfort because they challenge the story she told herself, that she was in control. Picture this. You used to text her every morning. You used to respond instantly. You used to compliment her, even after she pulled back. Then one day, it all stops. No messages, no reactions, nothing. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. But as days go by, that silence starts echoing. Every time she opens her phone and doesn't see your name, it stings a little. Not because she's suddenly madly in love again, but because her ego feels replaced. 2. Your absence makes her reevaluate her choices. When a woman feels your absence, something happens that most men don't realize. Her mind starts to replay everything. Not because she suddenly regrets her decision, but because the silence gives her space to think in a way emotions didn't allow before. See, when things ended, she probably felt justified. Maybe she told herself, he wasn't giving me what I needed, or I can do better. In that moment, those beliefs felt true. Women are emotional creatures. We make decisions based on how we feel right now, not always on what's logical or long-term. But when the emotional intensity fades and she's left with quiet, no texts, no calls, no signs of you chasing, That's when her logic starts to wake up. Your absence becomes a mirror. Suddenly, she starts questioning her own narrative. Did I overreact? Was he really the problem? Or was I just looking for flaws because I got bored? That's when reevaluation begins. Your silence forces her to confront something she avoided while you were present. Accountability. When you were still in the picture, she didn't need to look at her own behavior. She could just focus on what you were doing wrong. But now, with no attention from you to distract her, she starts seeing things differently. The same traits she once criticized, your calmness, your focus, your independence, start looking like maturity and self-respect. Here's the truth a lot of women won't admit. When a man pulls away with quiet confidence, it triggers reflection. It's not the silence alone, it's the energy behind it. You're no longer trying to convince her of your worth. You're living like you already know it. And that contrast hits her. Because most men chase when a woman pulls back. But when you don't, you become unpredictable. And that unpredictability is what makes her curious again. 3. Curiosity turns into emotional confusion. Once you give a woman distance and she starts feeling your absence, something subtle but powerful happens next. Curiosity turns into emotional confusion. She starts wondering what's going on with you. At first, she might think she's just checking in out of boredom, but deep down, it's more than that. She's trying to figure out why you're not reacting the way she expected. Women are used to emotional feedback. When she pulls away, most men panic. They chase, they over-explain, they beg, or they try to prove their worth. That behavior reinforces her belief that she's still in control. But when you give her silence, calm, confident, unbothered silence, it breaks that pattern completely. Suddenly, she's not sure where she stands anymore. Now her curiosity starts to mix with confusion. Wait, did he stop caring? Is he seeing someone else? Was he really that invested, or did I imagine it? That uncertainty eats at her. Because women don't like emotional ambiguity. We crave emotional certainty. We want to know we're desired. We want to feel chosen. And we want to feel like we still matter. When that emotional feedback disappears, it creates internal tension. And here's the interesting part. That tension often makes her feel closer to you again, even though you're not around. She starts thinking about you more, talking about you to friends, checking your socials, trying to decode tiny signs of what's going on in your life. She doesn't always realize it consciously, but your emotional absence creates a vacuum, and her mind naturally wants to fill it. That's why she might act unpredictable. One day, she's cold and distant. The next, she sends a random message, likes an old picture, or comments on something small just to test the waters. It's her way of trying to re-establish emotional balance. She wants to feel your attention again, but without admitting that she misses it. 4. The shift from power to vulnerability. There's a point where the dynamic flips, and this is where most men finally start to notice her change. It's when the emotional power she once had starts to fade, and a quiet vulnerability begins to take over. She may not show it openly, but internally, she's wrestling with emotions she didn't expect to feel. When a woman ends things or pulls away, she often feels powerful at first. She believes she's in control. She made the decision. She walked away. She's free. That initial phase feels like liberation. She tells herself she's doing what's best, and she may even act happier for a while. But the thing about emotional power is that it only lasts as long as you're reacting to her. Once you stop, that power evaporates. Suddenly, she realizes something. She can't control your attention anymore. She can't make you text her. She can't predict your next move, and she can't read your emotions. That's when she starts to feel vulnerable. Because now you're the one who holds emotional mystery. And that's something she's not used to. Her thoughts start turning inward. Did he stop caring? Did he move on already? Does he even think about me anymore? These questions create a quiet kind of panic, not the dramatic kind you'd see on the surface, but the subtle, lingering discomfort that makes her restless. She starts remembering your presence in small moments, the way you used to make her laugh, the way she felt when you were genuinely invested. Those memories resurface, not because she's trying to recall them, but because her emotions are now craving the connection that used to feel so secure. That's the emotional shift, from power to vulnerability. The woman who once felt in control now feels uncertain. The silence that once felt like victory now feels like loss. And here's the part men often misunderstand. This isn't about guilt or regret at first. It's about emotional imbalance. She's no longer getting the validation she depended on, and that loss of emotional control makes her feel exposed. 5. When she feels replaced. The panic begins. There's a distinct moment when a woman's calm turns into panic. It's when she starts to believe she's been replaced. Up until this point, she may have been curious, maybe even a little nostalgic. But the moment she suspects that another woman has your attention, everything changes. Her ego, emotions, and pride all collide. And that's when the panic begins. You'll notice it in subtle ways. She might suddenly reach out after weeks or months of silence, asking casual questions like, "So, how have you been?" Or she might start engaging with your posts again after ignoring them for so long. It's not random, it's triggered. Because now she's no longer just missing your attention. She's realizing she might have lost her place in your life. Here's how it plays out emotionally for her. When you were quiet, she felt uncertain. But when she starts to believe you've genuinely moved on, that someone else might be experiencing the version of you she once had, it stirs something much deeper. It's not just jealousy, it's fear of replacement. Women often underestimate the emotional role they play in a man's life until they feel like someone else might be filling it. The same things she once took for granted, your attention, your time, your affection, suddenly look like gold when she sees another woman might have it. She starts remembering the little details, the inside jokes, the things that made her feel special. And it burns her that another woman could now be getting those same moments. Imagine this. She's scrolling through social media and she sees you out, looking relaxed, happy, and genuinely unbothered. Maybe there's a woman in the background, or maybe your post just feels different, confident, self-assured, not seeking validation. Her stomach drops a little. Her mind starts racing. Who is she? Is he happier now? Was I really that easy to replace? That's when she feels the sting of regret. Not because you posted something strategic, but because your energy shifted from wanting her to not needing her. That's what triggers the panic. Because for women, emotional security often comes from feeling irreplaceable. Once that illusion breaks, it hits hard. And here's the truth. Even if she was the one who left, she still believed she could come back whenever she wanted. But seeing that door possibly closed changes everything. 6. Her return isn't always about love, it's about reassurance. Here's the truth that most men struggle to accept. When a woman comes back after distance, it's not always because she's in love. Sometimes it's because she needs reassurance, the emotional confirmation that she still matters to you. And this is where many men get confused. They mistake a woman's curiosity, guilt, or ego-driven reach out for genuine affection. But the motives behind her return often have more to do with her emotions than with rekindling something real. You see, women are emotional feelers. We like to know that we're still significant, even after we've walked away. When a man finally detaches, when he stops chasing, stops explaining, and starts living confidently. It disrupts that emotional rhythm we were used to. So when she comes back, it's often her way of checking if she still has emotional access to you. She wants to see if your feelings are still there, if she can still pull that emotional response from you. That's why you might notice her reaching out with confusing messages. Something small like, "Hey, just thinking about you," or "How have you been?" Those are emotional temperature checks. She's not necessarily ready to rebuild something serious, but she wants to feel the old connection flicker again. If you respond warmly, she gets that hit of reassurance. Okay, he still cares. And once that emotional need is satisfied, she might disappear again. And that's what hurts a lot of men, because they think her return means she's finally realized his worth, when really, she's just soothing her own uncertainty. That doesn't mean she's being manipulative. It's just how emotion works for many women. We act based on what we feel in the moment, not what we've fully decided long term. So how do you know the difference between a woman coming back for love versus reassurance? It's all in her consistency. If she reaches out but keeps things surface level, no real vulnerability, no effort to repair what went wrong, then she's just checking if the emotional door is still open. But if she's genuinely interested, she'll be consistent. She'll communicate differently. She won't just talk about missing you. She'll want to rebuild something real, step by step. 7. The transformation that makes her regret everything. Here's the truth most men don't realize. The greatest revenge is not silence or even indifference. It's transformation. Because when you evolve beyond who she left, she can't help but look back and realize she underestimated you. And that's when regret hits hardest. At first, your silence frustrates her. Then your absence bothers her. But when she sees your growth, real, undeniable progress, that's when it burns. She starts comparing who you've become to who she's stuck with now. She starts wondering if maybe she made a mistake. Women don't miss the past version of you. They miss the man you became after she left. You have to make her see that leaving you was her loss, not yours. Level up your body, your mindset, your life. Become the man who's not chasing closure, but building confidence. When a woman sees that the man she walked away from didn't collapse, but rose higher, she feels something she can't admit. Jealousy. And more than that, attraction. She might not even recognize it as attraction at first. It'll start as curiosity. She'll check your story. She'll linger longer on your posts. She'll bring your name up casually to mutual friends. That's her trying to figure out if she still has any emotional power left. The more she sees that you're thriving without her, the more that power fades. Here's what most men get wrong. They focus on proving something to her. But the truth is, when you focus entirely on yourself, the proof takes care of itself. When a woman leaves, it's easy to think your only choices are to chase or to wait. But the real power, the one that flips the entire dynamic, is found in walking away for good and becoming untouchable. Because here's the truth. Once a woman realizes you're no longer emotionally available to her, she feels a shift that hits deeper than rejection. It's loss. See, women don't truly regret losing a man who begged, explained, or tried to prove his worth. They regret losing the man who finally stopped caring. The man who didn't react, didn't compete, didn't chase. The one who let silence speak for him. Because that kind of calm confidence forces her to face herself. It makes her question her decisions and wonder if she'll ever find that same energy again. Your growth, your discipline, your peace. That's what haunts her long after she's gone. You don't need to get her back. You just need to get yourself back. The moment you stop trying to control how she sees you, you gain control over what you become. So don't wait for her message. Don't hope she'll return. Focus on becoming the man whose absence says more than his words ever could. Because the truth is, when you move forward with strength, grace, and purpose, she'll always look back. But by then, you'll finally understand something powerful. Her leaving wasn't rejection. It was redirection.